And this is just such a terrible misconception in general, that in order to achieve your goals, you have to put yourself through discomfort and have this really gritty, pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality that drains you and sucks the life and fun out of whatever that you're actually trying to achieve. And I'm just here to say, like, no, we don't have to keep doing this to ourselves. There is another way that is synonymous with happiness and joy and beauty, and I want to show you how. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unsolicited with Faith, the show where I give you my unsolicited advice and opinions on life and pop culture. Oh my gosh, guys. So before we start this video, I just want to start by saying thank you everyone for 250 subscribers. Guys, this is a big deal. Like, what the heck? I was not expecting the love and support on my last video, and it has just been so overwhelming. I feel so grateful. I feel so happy that I've actually been able to help people and impact people in a practical way. Reading everyone's comments and hearing how much my advice helped them and how much my video helped them. It literally makes me so happy. Another housekeeping, I upgraded from a crappy mic to a not as crappy mic, but still crappy nonetheless. So I'm really scared for this audio. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we're praying that it comes out better, because look at this little tiny microphone and tell me that's not the cutest thing you've ever seen. So we're keeping it. But yes, back on track to today's video. One of the things that I have learned in this past year is how to actually achieve my goals. And the strategy that I am implementing is nothing new. It's nothing new, it's nothing crazy, it's incredibly simple actually, which is the hardest part about it. So today I just want to give you like a little bit of a backstory as to how I found this strategy, what it is, and then I'll tell you how to implement it into your own life. So to start, I wouldn't call myself a lazy person by any means, but I feel like I've always struggled with accomplishing my goals, mainly because they've always been self-oriented. Whenever I was in a classroom setting or a group setting, I felt like I was really good at being the best among the bunch, because I, one, seeked my parents' approval like nothing else, and two, I'm incredibly competitive. So that's why I struggled a lot with self-motivation, because my goals were really only for myself. They weren't something that would be rewarded with external validation, and therefore all my life I feel like I've just been creating goals and never accomplishing them, because I didn't know how to actually motivate myself and continue to motivate myself to accomplish them. When it came to actually creating my action plan or even just achieving my goals, I didn't really know how to go about it. So I tried a lot of reward-based motivation, meaning that I would say if I complete this goal, then I will buy myself something nice, or I'll give myself a good little mani-pedi day, or just treat myself, just anything that would encourage me externally to achieve my goal. However, none of this ever works. Literally, I would always fail, and the people around me and in my life would stop really implementing these tactics for me if I told them to, because they knew that I just was gonna give up anyways. And as a result, my self-confidence really started to decrease, and I just kind of felt like I was stuck in this loop of creating goals and just never achieving them. Fast forward to January of this year, I did 5 months studying abroad in Spain. Then while I was studying abroad, I needed a form of working out. This is relevant, I promise. So basically, the gym memberships in Spain, for whatever reason, are $1 million bajillion. And I was like, what can I do that is free, not as time consuming and will help me get a good workout in. Running. So that's what I started doing. I started running, but the gag is my first run, I literally I had a goal of running for 7 minutes. That's it, 7 minutes, because I knew that I wasn't a strong runner and I didn't want to I just knew I had to start from somewhere, basically. And so that was my approach. I literally just ran for 7 minutes, and then every day I was like, I'll just try to run a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And then something shifted. Within 2 months of running consistently, I went from only being able to run for 7 minutes straight to being able to run for 2 miles. 2 miles, that's like 20 minutes. I usually run 2 miles in about 20 minutes. And I did that within 2 months. And like, the fact that I even kept to it for that long was just mind-blowing to me. And I was like, this was also around the time that I was starting my YouTube again, that I was being more experimental and going out of my comfort zone with my social life. And I was like, what is it that is different now than before? And I realized I started to gain momentum, which is the topic of today's video. So what is momentum and how does it help us achieve our goals? So the concept of momentum in relation to achieving our goals is nothing new. It's actually a very common tactic that media companies and other forms of entertainment use in order for us to stay engaged with their content. For example, people who are like addicted to video games aren't staying glued to the screen because of the virtual money or prizes that they win after completing a level. It's because of the satisfaction that they get from being met with a challenge and then being able to overcome it and win the game. And while rewards are really good incentives for us to pursue a goal, they aren't really helpful when it comes to us actually achieving it. And this is why so many of us set huge goals at the beginning of each year in January, only for us to give them up by February because they were too hard and out of our limit. So a research fellow from Queen Mary of the University of London, Agatha Ludwigzik. You'll see her name here. She says, common sense suggests the amount of effort we put into a task directly relates to the level of reward we expect in return. However, building psychological and economic evidence indicates that often high rewards are not enough to ensure people put in the effort they need to achieve their targets. And for me personally, this is just such a validating research finding because I feel like my entire life I have just been setting this goal with seemingly high rewards, and I figure that it doesn't matter how big the goal is. If I really care about it and I really want to achieve it, then I'll somehow, some way find the discipline to do that thing. And then I quickly burn myself out, I give up, and I get so incredibly mad and frustrated at myself for not completing this goal, only for me to start back over again using the same exact approach. And it's like, what is this insanity? Why do I keep setting myself up for failure? And I think that this is also something that people can relate to. If you continue to create goals for yourself and then not achieve them, you kind of create this narrative in your head that you, one, can't achieve that specific goals, and two, can't achieve any of the goals that you want to do in your life in general. And as a result of that, you just kind of don't even ever want to create those goals in the first place because you don't want to be met with that disappointment. And this is just such a bad repercussion of that in general because there is just so much research that shows that having ambitious goals leads to a more fulfilling and happy life. So it's not the goals that is the issue, it's the way that we approach it. And for some people, this discipline over everything mentality is really beneficial to them and it suits them really well. However, I just think that that is a byproduct of living in a masculine dominated society where misery and putting yourself through dread is synonymous with respect. And this is just such a terrible misconception in general, that in order to achieve your goals, you have to put yourself through discomfort and have this really gritty, pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality that drains you and sucks the life and fun out of whatever that you're actually trying to achieve. And I'm just here to say, like, no, we don't have to keep doing this to ourselves. There is another way that is synonymous with happiness and joy and beauty, and I want to show you how. So the first thing that I would say to do to gain momentum is to lower the stakes. What I mean by this is just simply creating goals that are smaller. This is something that was really difficult for me, and I think is the biggest reason why I got so hung up on not being able to achieve my goals, is because I would try to bite off more than I could chew. I think this is especially harder for overachievers or for people who feel like they are behind in achieving their goals and want to compensate by having this go big or go home mentality. I am here to tell you, if you are a beginner at something, a go big, go home mentality will send your ass home. You're not going to be able to do whatever you want to do if you aren't ready to achieve that. It's just a simple logic and physics. Like, I don't know why I do this to myself, seriously. It's actually so annoying. Number 2, be intuitive. So while your goals should scare you a little bit, they shouldn't necessarily make you anxious. But if your goals are too easy, then you're not going to see the progress that you need in order to achieve those big goals that you want to see. So this is where intuition comes into play. And hopefully after I read this quote, then you'll be able to understand that a little more. Now, this is from the same research that I mentioned earlier, but just a different article. The researchers suggest that the key to achievable goals is to consider the effort needed when deciding what to do, and then remembering to focus on the rewards once the time comes to put the effort in. Now, this is when you should use your intuition. The way that I like to think of it is on a scale of 1 to 10. If 1 is like, I could do this in my sleep, and 10 is I might actually pass away trying to achieve this goal, then 5 is pretty neutral, right? So I try to aim for like a 6 to an 8 in regards to the amount of effort that I'm going to be putting into my goals. So not easy enough where I don't have any struggle doing it, but not too hard where I feel like I might be exerting so much energy that I burn myself out. Number 3. So my third tip is to be flexible. I am someone who often gets caught up on meeting very specific goals that I make at the beginning of my journeys. And I think that's just because I've previously had a really bad relationship with doing the things that I said I was going to do. And now I've just become a person where I feel like if I say that I'm going to do that thing, then I have to do that thing specifically. But at the same time, if you create a goal for yourself and you pursue it, and then you realize that it's way harder than you thought that it was going to be, I think you should give yourself grace and permission to modify it to something that will actually help you get that momentum to eventually pursue that big goal that you started with originally. You're not cheating. You're not giving up. You're not throwing in the towel. You're just meeting yourself where you are. And I think that is totally, totally okay. And then my last tip is so simple, yet so effective and necessary, and that is implementing constant reminders. I personally like to write a list of all my goals and tape it to my door, just something somewhere that I am going to constantly be reminded that this is what I'm working towards. I think it can be so easy to get swept up in the throes of everyday life and forget that this is the bigger picture, that this is what you're working for, until one day when you're scrolling through Instagram or TikTok and you're seeing someone doing the thing that you want to do or being the place that you want to be, and you're like, why am I not there? What happened? What happened to all these goals that I made for myself? So having these constant reminders will really help you to make those small changes that will add up over time on a daily basis. And that is the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you. I love all of you. Remember to follow me on Instagram because I'm going to be getting some more content on there up soon. And yeah, I think the homework for today is just to implement 1 or 2 of these tips that I added at the end of the video into your new goals. And if you actually do take advice from this, please come back in like a month or a few weeks and let me know how your journey has gone, because I love reading your guys' comments. You don't even understand. I read pretty much every comment ever, and it just means so much to me seeing how my videos help people, or if they don't help you, you know, make sure you comment that in a nice way, please, because I'm sensitive. But I think that's going to be the end for today's video. I love you all. I hope you have a great day. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.